What up, what up, what up? All right. So I want to talk today about agents. So I've been working on Crawford, which I should have called it Clawford. I should have called it Clawford. I regret that. I'm not going to change it. But it's my own go-to-market agent. And the idea behind this agent is really that you should be able to get right answers at the lowest possible cost. And that's the thing that matters most. And the cost isn't just what it costs to do a web research or what tokens cost. It's the cost to get an answer. And some answers are easier than others, right? Figuring out if there's a Chipotle down the street is a much easier question than in the next 10 years, how many Chipotles will be here? And that's a silly example because there should be more. But what I'm talking about is that in any TAM work, in any campaign work, 60% of the answers are easy. 60 to 70% are medium, 70, 80% are hard, 80 to 85% are extremely hard, and the other 15% are damn near impossible. And you should spend more money to get higher degrees of accuracy, but you shouldn't spend the 95 to 100% dollars on the 0 to 60. Like, you should get those answers as free as possible. And the hard thing is determining how much effort you should put into any given task. Now, I'm running a benchmark right now against all current agents. I think actually the Clayagent will be the one that performs best. And the single metric I'm thinking about is dollar per right answer. And that's the thing that I care about. And Crawford is designed around this question. And one of the things that I am working on right now is to compile context for Opus or Sonnet sub-agents. And the way that you will, if you just ask Claude Code to do this, what it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, well, one Opus agent can research 5 companies, 10 companies, 50 companies, and then it can come back and you do this 50 companies at a time. Well, that's sort of not possible for a huge TAM. But if you think about compiling context differently, and there are different size questions that need different pieces of information. So for example, if you wanted to know how many of the Chipotles in the country serve the new barbecue, there's like barbecue chicken or something. I haven't had Chipotle in a long time. I don't know why I'm thinking about this. But you could, what Claude Code would do by default is like, go research every Chipotle. And it would just say Chipotle San Francisco, Chipotle Atlanta. But think about compiling this context in a different way. You could make one API call that says, go give me every Chipotle in the country. You might use Open Web Ninja or Bright Data. You could go to mtos.com/leads and pull down all the restaurants. So now you have a list of every Chipotle. Okay, great. That's helpful. Well, now what you want to do is you want to go find every Chipotle menu, local menu. And that might be at chipotle.com/locations. And so you might go scrape all the locations. And then that might be location/this location/San Francisco, blah, blah, blah. And then there they might have their local menu. Okay, great. So you go scrape and structure all that. So now you have all the Chipotles in the country, all of their menus, and you can basically say, okay, go look for this keyword on all of those menus. That doesn't take any agentic work at all. But let's say you had a more complicated question, which is, which is the best Chipotle in the country? This is a good question. Well, there you probably need to take all of the reviews. So you'd go a step further and you would say, great, now I have all the Chipotle locations. I'm going to go do a Google Maps enrichment. Again, no agent work. These are just all APIs. And then you're going to say to one agent, go make this API call and save all of the Google reviews locally. Well, there could be hundreds of thousands of reviews. So then another sub-agent is going to just say, go figure out the best way to compile just the load-bearing reviews. So instead of 100,000 reviews, you might get to 500 per location. And then you might have another sub-agent say, okay, well, let's just find the dates. Let's go, and that's a bad example because there's no AI need there. You could do that programmatically. But then you basically could pass one sub-agent all of the reviews or 10 subagents, all of the reviews that are all pre-compiled with like San Francisco, Atlanta, Tennessee, it's a whole state, uh, Kentucky. I don't know. I can't think of any other states, any other cities. So once you do that, you basically can make a whole TAM's worth of understanding in a few number of context windows with subagents. And so I'm working on Crawford right now to upgrade it so that it thinks about compiling context in the ways that you have to use the fewest number of subagents to make the most amount of good calls. And ideally, you can lean on APIs to make plenty of those calls. The way in which we're deploying information now, which is like, hey, Exa, hey, Clayagent, go look up this thing, it doesn't make sense because you don't get the benefit of the free lookup that you can do for the 60% of the market. You can't really spend more money on the where you need the best answers. And that messy middle, you don't really have a way to keep your cost as low as possible with the highest possible reasoning unless you compile your context in thoughtful ways. So the Crawford agent will do this. If you're an annual subscriber to Edge Copilot, it's the only place on the internet that I publish any content anymore. LinkedIn too, but those two places, nowhere else. No other Substack. I'm only on Edge Copilot. And that's the on Edge, edge.blueprintgtm.com. But that is the way to think about context and subcontext and to be thoughtful about deploying agents that actually may not have any access to the web, but they can help you determine, is this the 60%? Is this the sort of 60 to 80%? Is this the 80 to 90%? Or is this the 90 to 100%? And sorting your work by what needs more intellectual firepower is the best way to get the most out of your dollars, no matter what model and who's charging you what. So thank you so much for watching. Please go subscribe, edge.blueprintgtm.com. I will continue to make as much content as possible, as free as possible. And for those that have committed to the yearly subscription, you should congratulate yourself. You have access to me in your terminal. You have access to Jordan Crawford in over 400 wiki entries. I have, I think, 30 to 40 tools now, and I'm building all the time, every day. I can't stop my own imagination. Thanks so much. I appreciate you. Bye.